Hey guys. Um, I wanted to do a video on not reading into things because I've heard a couple stories lately about this going on, and I think it's important to address. So I had this thing happen years ago where I was driving along and some guy was like coming up behind me, kind of trying to get into my lane. And I thought I'd do something nice and just kind of wave him on over so that he could get in front of me. And when he got in front of me, he then slammed on his brakes and tried to ram me into the median. He swerved toward me to like slam me into like the median, and we went over like think like two lanes, and the guy was just really aggressive, like out to get me. And I was obviously shocked because I'd just done something really nice for him. And I was like, why is he trying to ram me off the road? So, and I was this close to actually hitting the median, and he was holding me to it. He was like on me, like you were going to hit this median. And I was just such a good driver. I just kept from kept from hitting that median that by that far, that close. So then he speeds away and takes off. And I was like, I'm not letting him get away with this. So I called the cops, and I was like, this guy just totally pretty much tried to kill me. He tried to like run me into the median or make me get into some serious accident. And I was like, I don't know what happened, because I did a nice gesture and let him come on over. And so I followed him, and the cops caught up to him. And we all get out of our vehicles, and they interviewed both of us. And the guy was absolutely hysterically angry and was very, very, very mad at me. And I was like, I don't get it. I don't understand. And the cops came over and told me he thought that I flipped him off. So that's just such a good example of how easily things can be misconstrued. They ended up making it mandatory that he go through anger management because the guy felt bad. He should have come over and apologized when he realized what was going on. But obviously, it's like when you get a story built up in your head as to something having happened, it's even hard for you to be convinced that that really didn't actually happen. You guys might be having this happen with coworkers, and that's very common. People that you see on a regular basis to make up stories about why they did something, why they did. It's like reading into their tone, or they pushed a piece of paper over at you in such a way that seemed aggressive, or any of that. Or you think you heard something, or somebody say something about you or something like that, and all of a sudden you're like at attention. If you're looking for those things, that means you're really sensitive. And if you're looking for those things, it means that you're kind of looking to find things that you can be a little in your ego about, a little afraid about. Your ego loves to hook you with those types of things and then gets your brain spinning on it. So one thing that I advise to dealing with anything like that, if you have that going on with anybody in your life, is to try to drop all assumptions. Don't even care. If they're being however they're being. I don't care if they yell at you, or if they act rude, or if they whatever that they do. Don't read into it. Assume they're having a bad day and let it go. Be their little angel. Just be like, okay, well, everything sucks in their life right now, so they're taking it out on me. So I'm just going to be a playful little puppy with them and show them love, and be the thing that helps them feel better. I can be the one that kind of changes their mood by being funny, or being, you could take that way, or you can just surrender to the whole thing. You could just feel all the emotions of it and just let it go and don't attach to any of it. You could be the observer. You could detach from the situation and watch from like more of an observer standpoint, and just be like, ooh, look at her get all upset about what was said. Ooh, look at her. But don't try to control it or do anything about it. Just actually trust life that it'll all work out just as it should. And even if it results in you losing your job, or if it results in you losing your relationship, or whatever it is was meant to be. Sometimes the universe has things like that happen to show either them a lesson or to show you a lesson. So just chill about it and don't read into it. Don't make it into a big, long, big, drawn out story. that makes you even more sensitive to them even being around you, or like everything that they do just feeds your story of what they, how they really feel about you. Avoid doing any of that, because if you're in the habit of doing that, you're going to do it in your relationship as well, and you're going to ruin your relationship. So you could clarify, you could go ask the person, are you upset with me? But even that, it's like they're upset. So kind of just let them be upset. Let them kind of chill out. Some other time when they're more receptive and they seem to be more relaxed, then you can be kind of joke around. Oh, I thought you were mad at me the other day. Are we cool? So, but try to work on that automatic thing that happens sometimes where you're just wanting to do something about it and fix it. Try to work on that within yourself, that mechanism. Learn to be more at peace with life. Learn to just be like, I'm sure that it's just something that's not a big deal. Assume the best. And that energy itself will bring about a better result than worrying about it. I once had this person that I dealt with who had come up with some kind of story about that I had done something rude, and now I hated him. And he went kind of ballistic on me. He kind of like was so angry that he caused a huge scene. And I had no idea that there was even any upset between us. And he acted like, this thing between us, I can't take it anymore. And he was just screaming and livid. And I was just standing there shocked. I had no idea. I liked the guy, not like the guy, but I liked him. I always like, hey, how you doing? In fact, that day I was like, hey, have a great night. And then that's when he went off on me. And so it was just such an obvious thing of like a story that had been built up in his mind all this time. He never asked me if I was upset with him. He never, and a friend of mine shared a story too about something that happened with her once where she thought somebody had, she was really agitated by somebody who was kind of like rude in her life a lot. All her friends are like, why are you friends with her? She's so rude or whatever. And she decided to have like compassion for her friend being this way. And so she started to just kind of like appreciate that about her, or like she looked at it from a totally different light, and all of a sudden everything shifted with that friend, and that friend wasn't even that way with her anymore. So give people the benefit of the doubt. Be kind, be compassionate. Don't assume anything bad. Just don't assume anything bad. And if before you do that, just try to clarify. And even if they say something that seemed like that was just really awful to say, whatever that thing is, clarify with them. Don't assume that was actually an awful thing they just said. Just ask some questions, just be like, what did you mean when you said that? And not even in a defensive way, but like, what did you mean by that? What, like, could you clarify what you mean by such and such? Like, okay, so somebody under one of my videos recently said, that was terrible, ! So instead of saying like, what do you mean that was terrible? I put a lot of time and effort into that, and that was little lie. Instead of doing anything like that, I decided, could you please expand on that? And so, it could have been anything. You never know if people are just having a bad day or a bad life or a bad moment, or that they didn't even do anything bad at all. And that what they did was not even rude at all, but you just totally read into it because you're so afraid to lose your job, or you're so afraid to lose something that you're clinging desperately to, that you're just completely overreactive and way, way sensitive. Consider all of it. And just try to learn to be more trusting of life is what it comes down to. Just trust everything's working out exactly as it should. Even when it looks bad, like do my exercise with it. Why it's a benefit or an advantage to you as to why that's happening. Talk to them, be friends with them. People who like you, people who feel like you like them will like you. People usually get upset with you because they feel like you don't like them. So I don't know, there's so much to that, but I just wanted to put that out there, that there can be so easily things that are misunderstood, and they're just wrong. The conclusions you're coming to are just wrong. They're just not right. And I have seen so many times, I mean, in more recent years, I used to be more reactive and I used to want to do something to fix it, you know. But now it's to the point where when stuff happens around me, I'm just like, I just pray, like, just show me the truth of all things. Let it all fall into place. I might say a blessing for the person or something, but I just, okay, whatever. And then it always works out really well. You know, apologize to the person, you know, like that person that I had that thing with, I just said, you know, I actually always thought we were in a good space. I don't understand, you know, what you were saying. So if you want to talk about it, I'm here, I'll listen. And, you know, if I came across a certain way, then I certainly didn't mean to, and I didn't mean to offend you. So if you want to talk about it, I'm here. But, you know, you could do something like that to just take responsibility for whatever part you can, you know, and then it's off your shoulders and you've done what you could. And what else? Try to see things from everybody's angle rather than just looking at it from your own. Just learn to pull back away from situations and see it from all perspectives. And try to come from a place of compassion or empathy or commonality. What do I have in common with this person? Where can I approach this person on a level of like, I know you and I both want harmony at work. I know you and I both want to be friends with that person. I know you and I both want a good family dynamic. So approach them from that angle of where you guys both agree, and you'll make a lot more headway. And really try hard not to assume anything negative. You know, that's just our egos engaging us in unhealthy behavior for ourselves and for others. And everyone deserves a clean slate in every moment. Don't pigeonhole people. Don't just assume because they acted a certain way before that they're going to act that way again. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Meet them at a heart level. Like, really go in there wanting to really care about that person when you go to talk to them. Get in that heart-centered space, and it'll go a lot better than you would probably assume. All right. So I hope this helps. Have a beautiful day, you guys. I'm starting to have this lightning and thunder happen in here, so this is going to be fun to watch. All right. Bye, guys. I just remembered a point I was going to make with that, too, is that if you're calling somebody rude or mean or whatever it is, you could be projecting on them, too, because think of it this way. If you think that they're snippy with you, right? So then you're like, well, they don't like me, and I don't know, what did I do to deserve this? And you start getting an attitude with that person. You assuming or thinking that they got snippy with you, whether they did or didn't, you then become really snippy. And every time they're around, you start acting like a jerk to them and start shoving things their way and start talking behind their back and start trying to get this negative energy going and all this kind of stuff. So who is really doing the wrong thing? The one who initially acted snippy? Possibly. You don't even really know. You may have been being sensitive or reading into it. And then here you have multiplied it times 20 by treating them, you know, at least 10 more times as bad, and treating other people bad, and pitting people against that person and everything. If somebody, you know, and that is just classic projection. It's like, who was really the rude one? The one that initially did something that may have been misconstrued, or the one who was rude times, you know, by doing all these other different things that were even worse. So if you're accusing somebody of being rude or being whatever the negative thing is, take a look at you. Are you the one also being rude? Or were you way more rude in the way that you responded to them? You know, it's a really good, and vice versa. It goes both ways. That's why when you become more self-aware, you're able to see that and catch that more quickly. And when somebody acts a certain way, then you just go, meh. I'm the one that was tempted to or wanted to be kind of a jerk, So just all stuff to be aware of, But I thought I'd mention that too, because it's so much part of being a human being, Don't see your own hypocrisy in calling somebody else something negative. And it's not in a way of being like judgy to yourself either. It's just more of a way that you can laugh at yourself and see that it's really just you, and you're just reacting to the other person because you think that if you were to behave that way, you would really harshly judge yourself. Maybe they weren't being that way, but you're like, who are you to do that if I can't? Who are you to talk that way to someone if I wouldn't allow myself to be that way? I would consider myself to be unlovable by God if I were to do that. So all these different little games that we play with ourselves and with our interactions with others, but it's all just a big classroom for us to learn and grow and become more self-aware and more unconditionally loving. So, all right. Talk to you guys later.